sometimes we ask them, hey, who would you like to send to Berlin this year? And then we start talking about what we can do. And this is like we are building the field around this fast, super fast runners.
Are you running a marathon? Oh my god, I could never run a marathon. You sure about that? My god, a marathon is like 42 kilometers, 26 miles. I don't understand those people.
That used to be me, but not anymore. Welcome to the Marathon Podcast. My name is Christian Warwick. Warwick runs on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and the Marathon Podcast is on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel there, head over and do so. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, please do that, and then you'll just stay updated on everything that's coming out from the Marathon Podcast. I'm really happy to have you here. I'm grateful to all of you for listening, and finally I'm able to give something back to you guys for being here and listening. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Marathon Podcast has partnered up with Strava. Strava is like one of the biggest brands in the running world, and I've been using it since 2014. I looked at it today, and my first ever Strava activity was a cross-country skiing trip back in 2014, and I am so stoked to be able to say that I've partnered up with Strava. That is a cool thing to say in the first place, but I'm also very, very happy and pleased to say that this is the kind of partnership that I've been wanting. I want a partnership where the whole thing is not a big ad talking about how great it is. I think that if you are a runner, you know that Strava is a great tool to use. I love that app. I use it a lot myself. But I don't really have to say that, do I? The thing about this one is that I'm able to give you 20% off that annual subscription. And my goal has always been that if I partner up with a brand, I want you guys to get something in return. I want you guys to benefit from it. So by using the code Christian, my name with a K, so KRISTIAN, just look it up on Warwick Runs or down below, you will be able to get 20% off your annual subscription. And I'm just really, really happy and honored to have Strava with me. And I hope that that is just a sign that the Marathon Podcast is doing well, that they like what I'm doing. And they did tell me that this is the first podcast that they're doing this with, because they usually just do it with creators and athletes. So thank you again for the trust, Strava. And I hope I won't let you guys down. In today's episode, we are having Philipp with us, who is the elite coordinator of the BMW Berlin Marathon. And this is a very cool conversation to have, because we get insight to the process of things that we don't usually see. We might see the ballot or like hear about the ballot of the general for all of us who are not elite runners, but how does it actually work with the elite field? Who's invited? What does it take to get invited? And if you're a fast runner, is that enough to just qualify for or get into the elite field of a major marathon? Well, Philipp has all the answers to that, and I'm really happy that he wanted to come on the Marathon Podcast and share how that process is with the BMW Berlin Marathon. I can tell you for sure that I got more excited about running the Berlin Marathon after this chat, and I'm just impressed with the dedication, the commitment, and the passion that people like Philipp have for the for organizing such an event. And it's just really impressive, and I have a lot of respect for that. And Philipp is just genuinely a nice guy. So I can't wait for you guys to hear this the conversation or listen to it. Before we dive into that, just as usual, quick little update on my own running. Not much to report on, because it was yesterday that I recorded the intro to the Jimmy Whelan episode. Want to say thank you for all how that episode was received, because it seems like you guys really loved that episode, which makes sense because he's a great guy, very impressive. Anyways, I got the new Coros Pace 4. Amazing, really like it. So far, I used it for my run today, this afternoon. Felt good on the run, used the Coros Pace 4. The biggest difference so far is just that the screen is so much better, much brighter, much easier to keep, to look at it, and it's much brighter. So I'll report back when I've tried it out a bit more. And eventually I'm also going to do kind of a comparison between this one, the Pace 3, but also Garmin and the Apple Watch Ultra, just because I've been using all of those for the last few months. Okay, so that's it. Enough about me, enough about gadgets, tech. Here's the episode with Philipp. Philipp, welcome to the Marathon Podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, before we start talking about everything, running and everything that we're going to talk about today, I would love for you to introduce yourself, because I think that a lot of the listeners will be intrigued as soon as they hear about your role in the running world.
Yeah, that's true. I'm Philipp. I'm from the BMW Berlin Marathon, and the organization behind it is the SEC events. Not only the marathon, few other races, and yeah, I'm part of the participant management team, and especially for the elite athletes. So I have to coordinate everything before the race, during the race, after the race, and yeah, that's the best part of the job, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it sounds like you're the man with the happy news.
Most of the time, yes, but yeah, every year, every race is quite different. So this year we had a lot of heat and heat preparations before the race, and so many people and athletes struggled there. And yeah, but most of the times we have a good news for everyone.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like being in the running community these days, and especially being in charge of or being a part of the committees doing the major marathons, that seems like it's becoming a more fun job every year, but maybe also more stressful. What is what are your thoughts on that?
So yeah, I would say it's both. So be participant and be worker on the whole thing, um, because the increasing of the numbers of participants or for the lotteries are increasing so much more than maybe 10 years ago, and that's a tricky part of it, but it's also fun to be part of it, because you see so many happy faces in the finish area. You see so many other people around the world running this marathons, and also myself. So it's really cool to be part of it as a runner and as an organizer.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the listeners listening to this, they might have BMW Berlin Marathon on their kind of like bucket list. They want to go. They might, have signed up for the ballot and not gotten in, or they've done it already. And I have so many questions for you, especially in your position. And I know that there are some things that we cannot talk about, but I think that a lot of the things that we will talk about today will be really, really interesting to a lot of runners. But before we do, I feel like most people being a part of an event like the Berlin Marathon, you did mention yourself like running. I'm curious, what is your background with running, and how did you end up where you are today?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I had a little bit of luck, maybe, when I started my employment at the SEC events or at the marathon. It was 4 years ago. Yeah, right now 4 years ago. And before that, I worked in a football club, in a local football club, and so a little sport background. Yes, I started running 2018 with my first half marathon, 19 with my first Berlin marathon, and during COVID, I started to train more and more, and yeah, that's my background from the running scene. But I have no athletics background from years of age. So that's everything. I love the
Yeah.
sport right now.
Yeah, me too. I think that if you become a part of that community, it's hard not to love it. At least that's my experience personally. But I also feel like people I talk to on the podcast or outside of the podcast, people are like, oh yeah, it's such a good community. If more people ran in the world would have been a better place. All of that. It's pretty cool. And you know, for you, you said you had no athletic background really, but how has it been for you to kind of join this big event, which is, I don't know, maybe you can also say something about the scale of it in Germany, because for at least for me, I look at this as like a huge event, and I'm guessing that it must be one of the biggest sporting events, at least for people of all levels, when it comes to sports events in Berlin, maybe.
Yeah, it means a lot for Berlin as well. Not only for the sport, also for the tourism, for the coffee shops, for the restaurants, for everyone. So for Berlin, it's a very big event of the year. So what I heard about the airport is it's a most important weekend for them, and so that's crazy. So the crowd is crazy in Berlin. Uh, on the course, and when the spectators also crazy, more than thousands, 100,000 people are on the course. So it means a lot for the town, for the city. So it's a special day, I would say, for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, it's funny that you're saying that, because my first kind of introduction to marathons and the sport of marathons was my dad. I think he's done Berlin 4 times, and he did it. I think maybe the first time he did that was in 2009 or 2010. And I had no relationship to marathons at all. You know, like I wasn't running. I was just, at the time, I would have been 17, 18. And I just heard him coming back, and he had such a good experience. And then he brought my mom over, and she was spectating. And they were just talking about how great this event was. And I, I must say that, like, I've been to Berlin myself as a speed skater, so we were like in a very different part of the city. But going into Berlin, I feel like that is one of the cities that I've been to where it's almost hard to imagine that it's possible to have a marathon there, because it seems like, I don't know, it's hard to imagine so many people running there. Can you say something about, for you guys, the logistics of having such a big marathon in that big of a and busy of a city? I guess it's like fun, but also kind of complicated.
Of course. So the organization behind us is not only me. We have around 90 people who are full-time employees. So that's a lot of people. I don't know if the others have more. Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, we are working the whole year for the next year. And we have a lot of other events in the year. So it's not only the marathon. But yeah, when we are organize a marathon, so we have to talk with the city most of the time. So very early, so we have to, with the fire department, with the police, with every organization who can help us, help the city to that we can do our job like we did every year, and we don't have to forget more than 6,000 volunteers who are on the streets to say no to the cars that they cannot cross the street, to give you the medals, to at the water station, at the drink stations, at everywhere. So it's it's a lot of work, and every year is different. It's not, you can not have the plan A. So you have the plan A, yeah, it's a best plan, but we also have to be focused when we have to change our plan to plan B or C or whatever. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun for everyone in the company. And I think that's, so in my opinion, it's my favorite race, because the whole city is ready for it, and they want to see the friends, the families, and also the fast runners. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you said there about, you know, you mentioned the fast runners. I'm gonna try to make a smooth transition now into what we're gonna talk more about, because I know that as soon as the Berlin Marathon 1 year is over, I'm sure that you have to kind of start thinking about, okay, who are we gonna have next year? This year you had arguably maybe the fastest marathon ever done in terms of effort. Like if we look at the heat and the race time this year, it looks like you did a very good job. Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's true. This year was special. Sebastian Save, he did under these conditions, I think, a perfect race, and the the fastest time this year. Let's see what happens on Sunday in Valencia. But under these conditions, it was amazing to see what's possible. So not every one of the athletes have these good feelings in the body, but some of them did a personal best, but some of them dropped out. Many of them dropped out, to be honest. And yeah, yeah, that's cool to see what's happening when so such in a good shape under these conditions, and that was a crazy day for everyone.
But is it almost like a little bit of a victory to you when you see that he, for instance, runs that fast?
Of course, it is. I think we as a team with me and Mark Milder, our race director, we are talking a lot and talking a lot to the managements. And when we see, okay, he did this good job under these conditions, of course we are proud of it. And yeah, when we have a lucky day like the last maybe 10 years, so we had better conditions, you never know what's possible, right? And yeah, but it was a good one for us.
Yeah. I you know, when we're talking about this, I'm also thinking that you are probably then celebrating a little bit like, oh yes, we got this great performance. Because although the race conditions might not have been the best, people also acknowledge that, right? Like, so when I listen to other podcasts or listen to other people, they're still talking about that race and saying like that is arguably the best marathon ran at least this year, but maybe ever. Because if you look at the racing conditions, the way he did it solo, you know, just I remember watching the race and I was like, how is this possible in that heat? You see people dropping out, you see people struggling to finish, and he does this. And then I guess that you guys are kind of like celebrating a little bit, but then you might have to start almost planning because you have all the athletes there already, and maybe you have to almost have some, not, if not negotiations, but like talks to them about things. How is that for you? Do you start planning it almost the minute they cross the finish line for next year?
Okay, directly after the finish line, the athletes had other problems sometimes. So no, yeah, we're just celebrating also this year victory a bit. But to be honest, we also were very or a bit disappointed because of the weather conditions.
Yeah.
Because so it was a super strong field and with super competitors, and so many dropped out. And yeah, also for the Germans it was a tough day because some of them had goals for the rest of the season or for next season to qualify for something. And yeah, um but yeah, we're just talking the whole weekend with the agents or with the athletes, and of course for the future, for next year, for other events or whatever. But yeah, to be honest, it's a bit a secret with talking about directly to the athletes if we can sign this year someone directly for next year. And yeah, we're not talking about at the weekend directly with agents
No.
for next year because they have to rest a bit. Maybe some of them had some injuries after this or have other plans for next year to give a shot to another race. And yeah, but we start talking beginning of the year, and yeah.
Yeah. But I think that at least I am curious, and I'm sure a lot of other people are curious because you obviously have the elite of the elite. You have those racers that all major marathons want to have on like their or they have them on their lists and they want them, and then you still have like an elite field consisting of racers who are not necessarily known to everyone, but like if you're very into the sport, you know about them. How do you, as soon as you start working on this elite field, how do you find the racers? How do you know who you want to have like on that list? For instance, I had a guy named Stephen McCauley on the podcast a couple of times. He was now invited to run the elite field in Valencia. He's done a 2:17, I think it is. You know, all of a sudden he's like noticed, and just a few months ago no one knew who he was because he had a 2:25 marathon PR. So it's just
Yeah.
how do you approach that?
And so, yeah, when we are talking about the elite athletes, so like Sebastian Save and the other ones, yeah, we know every agent, so they sometimes come to us and say, okay, we can offer him this year or her this year, and sometimes it's different. So sometimes we ask them, hey, who would you like to send to Berlin this year? And then we start talking about what we can do, and yeah, this is like we are building the field around this fast, super fast runners. And then, yeah, we have also some times for the elite and for the sub-elite field, but the times are not, I would say, not official communicated because, you know, in the last years, you see the times are even better and better and better. Also for the elite who are not run 205, 204, 203, but you have so many runners in the world who are dipping under 220 on the
Yeah.
men's side, and 240 maybe on the women's side. So that's why we have to choose the runners and can't make everyone happy because um, we have limited capacity in the start and in the finish area, and that's why we have to be a bit careful about it. And we want to have a good, smooth start. And yeah, that's a tricky part every year.
Yeah, I can imagine it must be really hard, and especially like you said when people are getting so much faster. Do you also get like applications? Is that how it works? Because I've obviously never tried to apply for an elite field spot or anything like that. Are the really fast ones also able to apply for it, or is it based on who signed up? Then you guys will make kind of a selection and offer them a spot in the elite field.
Yeah, they cannot apply really. They wrote us, or they will write us an email, to be honest, and then we will start the communication. That's it. So we have now no system where they can apply. Maybe other races have this. I know it from Copenhagen. They can do it. You can do it online, and then someone will check it in the background. But they're talking to me and to Mark, the race director, directly, and then yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the communication part. So it's a lot of email changes and communications, phone calls, and yeah.
And then you did say that because this is getting harder, not everyone can get in and all of that. And I'm sure that from a couple of perspectives, for you being, you know, a big contributor to the running community, it might be hard to say no because of that. And it might be hard to just say no because you feel like, oh, they also deserve it. But then this person who got in also deserved it the same, but they were running just as fast, or however that works. How are you able to approach that kind of challenge of figuring out we have two 15 racers here and not both of them can get in or can get an elite field spot? How do you solve that?
So it's not even that I really choose the athletes, because it's not fair when I will do it. So if I tell the 1 to 15 guy no, and the other one yes, and the 215 guy, when I said no, said to me, "Oh, why I'm not in? Because my friend get the spot." Yeah, I'm not choosing. What we are doing is, when many athletes are coming sometimes a bit too late, right?
Yeah.
When we are full, and I can't tell them, okay, you are maybe better. You have a 214 personal best. Oh yeah, there's someone in when you with a 216. Yeah, but sorry,
Yeah.
I wish I could help, but we have rules. We want to have our system in the start area and finish area, and that's why we cannot make everyone happy, and they have to try it for the next year, or when they can also register, not right now anymore, but before the lottery system, they can also apply for the fast runner entry. Some of them did this and contacted us after afterwards, but yeah. So it's really tricky, and I know when they are disappointed. I know it really, really much, but yeah, we cannot make everyone happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that is something that, whether I was talking to the race director of the Boston Marathon and like talking to people working like with the bigger marathons, this is an issue that you all are kind of facing now that the marathons are getting so popular. Because like you said, it could be that a few years ago you could set a cap saying like, okay, if you run faster than 218, you will get an elite field spot, because you knew that that would still limit the field. Well, now you have so many fast runners, or you might, have so many runners applying for the Berlin, and then you fill up the whole field in total, not just the elite field. How challenging is that for you guys as Berlin Marathon, like as a whole, that you, on one hand, you have this amazing thing that running is getting so popular, so many people want to attend the race, and then you also have so many people not being able to, and then you probably also get a lot of messages saying like, oh, but this person was able to run for Team BMW or whatever. I don't know if you have that in Berlin, but at least for a lot of marathons, you have sponsored spots that people get, influencers, all of that, and it's becoming more and more of a discussion about all of this. How is that for you guys? Is that something that you're noticing?
Yeah, we saw it in the past on social media, of course, when the crowd said, "Oh, why is this influencer getting a spot and not me? And why is he or she not in the lottery and he gets a spot from a sponsor?" Yeah, but sometimes, we we can control it, because the sponsors get the entries, so that's normal. That's in each race, and they can do what they want at the end. So, but yeah, we we see the problems, and we also. So to be honest, I can really, yeah, it's tricky. What can I say? Because it's not easy to make the decisions, and that's why we also have the lottery, to make it fair. So we have so many thousand registrations for the
Yeah.
lottery, and the other races also have this problem,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, it's sad, but
But
yeah,
I also
it's
I also think that when you see those comments, it's usually obviously the frustration of just not getting in that second or that minute or those days after. That is the frustration talking. Because what a lot of people might forget is that the reason why those events are getting that big, the reason you guys are able to have such a good event is also, like, first of all, the sponsors. And one way to give back to the sponsors will be to give them spots so they can give it to their, whether that is partners or employees or, you know, sponsored athletes, whatever they have. And I think that that is something that some people might forget, that if Berlin Marathon or if Boston Marathon, if London, like if they stopped giving those spots to the sponsors, the event wouldn't be the same. And so I think that's, you know, like it's kind of like a full circle here of things that need to happen for the event to stay the same or to get better. And it's easy to think like, oh,
Also,
but one more spot, I could have had that spot, right? Like, but it doesn't really work that way.
yeah, when everybody is coming to us or someone coming to us and said, okay, yeah, but one more doesn't make any difference. But yeah, in total, at the end, when thousands of runners coming and said, oh, please give me one more spot, it makes a difference. And so we are we are now not increasing the limits of the capacity, but we are over 50,000 runners on the street. So New York, you saw New York weeks ago with 56,000, I think. That's a lot, and you have to take care of everyone. And that's also our mission on the day, to bring most of the people or everyone healthy and good into the finish area. And when you have more and more people on the street, it's trickier for us, for the town, for the fire department, for everyone. And yeah, that's why many athletes or runners no luck and are disappointed. I fully understand, but yeah.
Yeah, it's no, it's difficult, and I can also tell that it's like, you know, and this is also something that I love whenever I talk to people in a position like the position you have, where I can really tell that it hurts that
Mhm.
people are not able to run. Like
Es-
if you got it your
especially
way,
as a
yeah. So
especially as a runner. So when you run by yourself and talk about it and said, okay, I really feel your frustration, and yeah, but that's life at the end. So,
yeah.
to be honest, I have also sometimes problems with entries or whatever to some races I wish I could do, but yeah.
But is this like a discussion that you guys have to almost have each year as this grows in terms of, you know, changing the policy of how to get? You have Boston, where obviously there are ways to run Boston without qualifying, but that is the most, like, the best way for most people, if unless you want to pay money or run for a charity, it is to qualify for it. With Berlin, at least you can sign up regardless of your time. You can sign up. There is a chance that you'll get in. Do you guys ever kind of consider, oh, should we change this for like give qualification times for some people like a certain amount, and or yeah, where are you guys at in that discussion?
So we have only right now we have qualification times for the fast runners. So when you have the qualifying standards, it also qualifying standards when your age group is under this time, you will get a guaranteed spot in the race. But for the other ones, we have no qualifications, and I think we don't even talk about it right now.
No,
We, I think not that we are copying the system from Boston, maybe.
no.
So yeah, that's everything what I can say about it.
Yeah, no, it's I'm just curious if, you know, like if that is something that happens. But I, you know, when you talked about racers, and we talked a bit about, you know, people running for brands and all of that, for most of us, you had a very big surprise this year with Harry Styles running the Berlin Marathon. Uh, and I'm not sure what you're allowed to say here, but like, did you know that he was running beforehand?
No.
No. So
Only a small part of people in the organization knows it, and it's for me it's okay like this,
Yeah.
because Harry Styles is one of the most popular people in the world. Everyone knows him, and when he announced his participation, so I don't know what happens at the street on the sides, how many girls, people, whatever will be there and cheering for him. No, only a handful of people knows it, and in my opinion, that's good.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah,
do you remember when you first were told or noticed that he was? Because then I assume that you didn't know until you either saw him in photos or someone told you about it after race start. Do you remember that moment?
yeah, I noted this before the race, so I know where he was before the race, and yeah, that's it,
W-
because he had a smaller area to change everything. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So,
that's it.
so what was your reaction? You know, like as a part of the organization, and now I'm just talking from the perspective of you get so much more attention from a totally different crowd of people. Now it's not just, you know, people interested in marathons and running noticing this. It's the whole world. Like you said, one of the most popular people in the world is running the Berlin Marathon, and he's also running fast. But that is another thing. But like, what were your thoughts when you're like, oh my god, Harry Styles is running our race?
To be honest, I at the moment I noticed that he's in the race, I thought, okay, I have no time right now for this, because I have to do my things with the elite athletes, and that's why afterwards, yeah, of course, I saw on social media some or many reactions about it, some positive, some a bit negative because of the secret thing, and yeah, but he also did the same in Tokyo, right? Nobody noticed, and he did it, and now in Berlin, much faster under these conditions, and yeah, but to be honest, I had no time to think about it at this in this moment.
It feels like he's almost like an Easter egg in the marathons now. People are like, "Oh, which one is the next one he'll show up at?" Because it almost sounds like he or looks like he has a little bit of a plan of doing the majors. If you look
Yeah,
at the trend right now, so it's just like a matter of like when is he showing up in Boston? When is he showing up in Chicago, London? You know.
yeah, London, Boston are the next, so he can prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe let's see what he is doing.
But I guess like if you look at the aftermath, and you said that there were some reactions and stuff. I don't agree with those reactions. I think that it would not have been smart to announce that in any way beforehand. But
Oh.
for you guys, you obviously get reactions on the athletic performances in general. But how was the media pressure, the attention that the Berlin Marathon got after? Did you really notice that because of his participation, or was there not that much of a difference?
We noticed it. I don't know any kind of numbers right now. That's not part of my personal job at the marathon, but we noticed it, of course, yeah. And yeah,
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think that it's great because I was also talking to the CEO of Tracksmith, and what's cool is that Harry Styles he chose to run in Tracksmith shorts, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, uh, what like for me, who I'm in love with brands, love that
mhm,
part of it, and so whether it's the BMW Berlin Marathon or it's the Tracksmith shorts that he's wearing, it's kind of also proof of quality, right? That he chooses to run in those shorts, that he chooses to run that marathon, and I must I must just or must imagine that for you guys too, that it's kind of cool to have someone like him doing that, and especially when he's able to run that fast, because then it doesn't just making him a celebrity who's running, it's a celebrity who's
yeah.
actually racing this thing.
Of course, he did, and of course, to be honest, for every big company or Tracksmith, BMW, or Adidas, or whatever, it's it's cool to have one of these persons in your clothes and on the streets. So it's advertising for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay him for this, and he's doing it. And of course, with this time under 3 hours, chapeau. Under
Mm-hmm.
these conditions, really nice job, and nobody knows that he can run so fast, and that makes it much more special.
Yeah. It's awesome. Okay, so we have Harry Styles. You have a lot of, really fast runners that you are in charge of. If we look at the marathon weekend for the elite field, and the reason for my question now is that I know that there are a lot of people now, chasing those faster times, and they might be curious about, like, if I get to the point where I'm a part of the elite field, what would my weekend look like? What does a weekend look like for the racers who are a part of the elite field in the Berlin Marathon?
Yeah, that's quite different. So we have also the athletes who get some invitations, so they don't have to care about anything at the weekend. So they get a airport pickup, they get the accommodation, they got meals, they water, everything. So they don't have to take care of it. They only have to focus to run fast or to run the best of themselves. And then we have the athletes who are in this sub elite category. Yeah, that's the top elite category.
Yeah.
They get a spot into the race, and anything else they have to take care
Mm-hmm.
by themselves. So they can, but they have the chance to put own bottles on refreshment points, and that's for the sub elites or for the slower elite athletes, or
Yeah.
a very important thing. So, when the crowd or the mass field is coming to the normal water stations, is super crowded, super wet. Cups on the ground, and yeah, and the elite category is, I think this is one of the most important things, that they get the refreshments, and yeah, and the elite athletes, so the super fast runners, a little bit more of the luxury to be part of the race. But to be honest, when you are fine to take care of yourself at the weekend, it's not even worse. It's quite good. You're starting at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting just minutes behind Kipchoge, or not minutes, seconds behind Kipchoge, 1 or 2, not more, and you can do everything from this kind of position. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I think that also, I would assume that to the people who are at that level, and especially for the first timers in the elite field, they don't really care if they get like hotel rooms or whatever. It's just like, oh, I get to have bottles on the course. That is a cool thing, and it's just, everything around it, and being able to have. Do they get their names on the bib?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger.
Yeah.
And yeah, they get it. And but yeah, to be honest, when we talk about it's slower, so the sub elite category, um of course they're asking for more, but at this time we have also accommodation capacities with our partner hotels, and we cannot give everyone a hotel room, or maybe money. So that's not how it works. And yeah, but we want to help them to perform their best, and that's why we are give this section of elite field the possibility to drop their own bottles,
Mhm.
and have a good race. And in my opinion, or in my last years from the marathon, or also the half marathon, they had also very, very good experiences and feedbacks of the race, of the organization, and how it's working with the bottles, and I think that's the best what we can do for them.
Yeah. How many people do you, or how many runners do you have in the elite field, women and men in total?
Um, in total, it's around 150,
Wow.
and but it's also every year a bit different. So we are not tell the world, okay, exactly this
No.
amount of people we are putting into the elite field. Um, I know, especially from Valencia next weekend, this elite field is super, super crowded.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have now around 200 men in the elite field, and I don't know how they do it, but it's quite interesting. It's a super fast race, but yeah, we have only uh, around this number of people, and I think that's a good number. That's a lot, but we can manage it on time. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing, that everybody is on time at the start line. And yeah,
I think that is something that some people might forget about when it comes to the marathons, because a lot of us, we think of the marathon and we think about the race that we're having, and we're used to, it's like, oh yeah, you will run in a crowded group, especially in the beginning, or the wave is like very crowded, all of that. But for the elite and for the best ones, this is a race. It's a proper race where every single second or tenths of a second will count, right? Like we see that, like in New York, there was a sprint. So you see that it's getting harder and harder, and I think that it would definitely take something away from that competition if you had a bigger group. Like you said, 200 in Valencia. That sounds crazy because it's gonna be so much harder, and it's gonna be, obviously you could argue that is a part of the sport as well, but at least historically it hasn't been in that way. It's more like you race side by side, but you still have room to do and be strategic in the way you want to.
yeah, of course, it's for you don't have to forget that the women's field, so the fastest women's in the races are sometimes faster than the slowest mans in the elite fields,
Yeah.
and that's also, in my opinion, or in our opinion, we have to take care about the women's especially at the start line, that they are not falling down just meters behind the start line,
Hmm.
because so many mans or other people are pushing from the back, because that's kind of tricky situation. That's also one reason, because we are separated our street in Berlin. On the one side the women, on the other side the man from the for the elite racers, and that we can manage the situation of the start line a
That's a
bit
cool way
more.
to do it.
And yeah, because we have the capacity on the street. So we have on the one side we have 5 or 6 lanes, and on the other side the same. And after the big roundabout, we come all together. And but there it's around run 800 meters, 1K, and then you have more space to choose your group, or to go behind this pacemaker, or especially also the fast ladies and also pacemakers. Slower mans can hang on there and have a bigger group, and yeah.
A lot of logistics. How much
Of course,
are you a part of that part of it as the lead
uh,
field coordinator?
in the race, not so much. The race director Mark Milde is the head of racing for the especially for the elite field. He is sitting in front of the first man, and now my part is more in the background. So to take care if everybody is on time in Berlin, everybody is on time at the start line, and after the start, I have to go to the finish area and work there a bit. And yeah, that's on the street. I cannot help so much.
No.
Only when someone is dropping out and they need to come back to the elite tents in the finish area. That's what I can do on the race.
Yeah. But before the races, and we briefly talked about, you know, how you talk to agents and you kind of you shape this elite field, the if not the way you want it, but like the way it kind of shapes itself based on who wants to run and also the ones you want to have run. But I feel like, especially these days, that if we look at like the top 2, 3 men and women, like that lineup is becoming so important to you guys as major marathons, and you have to compete with the others, because if someone's doing Chicago or Sydney, they probably won't do Berlin. For you in your position, how do you start thinking of like, oh, I want this name or this name, and do you have backups? Like, because this is much more of a marketing thing rather than just like an athletic thing, right?
Yeah, that's difficult to describe, because when you now have Sydney as another major in fall
Yeah.
or in autumn, so so you know, okay, one more race,
Mm-hmm.
the athletes will maybe go there, or in December go to Valencia, and that's, to be honest, also a fast course. Chicago is a fast course, so Chicago is now the men's and women's world record, but we are the course with the most world records in history at the marathon stage. So, yeah, it's tricky. So everyone knows, every agent knows, okay, when the condition in Berlin is good, so we have to give a shot to Berlin, because it's quite fast. It's most of the times are quite good.
Yeah.
And when you have also, you can, okay, now we had a bad year from the conditions, but when you're on Chicago, the windy city, you can also have a bad luck. So
Yeah.
if I think in this time of our weather conditions from the last years, or also in the future, it would be trickier. And I, of course, it's a hard work to get the most of the strongest athletes to Berlin. It get even harder from year to year, but with the right connection, sometimes also to the agents, or to the athletes from the past we had in Berlin, we can do a lot.
Yeah. I totally see what you mean. I feel like, you know, I come from speed skating myself, and I know that you guys also have the inline field. So like Bart Swings and all of the guys like doing these super fast races. And I heard so many good things about Berlin, especially in terms of how fast it is. And then we have this thing that I wanted to touch on at the end of our conversation here. And you did mention it with the, you know, hotter days, like the temperature is rising. I saw that there now, these are obviously just discussions that I've seen on Reddit and social media, but people are starting to kind of talk about, oh, should they change the dates of the races? Should Berlin be later in the year because of this? And obviously, historically, that has not really been a big problem. But are these things that you guys like listen to or start thinking about? And how much does it concern you for like future races and people kind of being like, oh, maybe Berlin will be too hot next year?
Um, mm, kind of. I don't know exactly the thinkings, or the, yeah, what my CEO think about it. If there are some connections with the town or not, but I know that it's difficult to change the date, because in Berlin they have only limited spots doing sport events on
Yeah.
the streets or festivals or whatever, and that's why it's not so easy to change from one year to another year the date of the race.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why we maybe can try to do it, but I don't think that it will come in the next years,
No.
because that's also a tradition to do it the last September weekend. Yeah, to be honest, this year it was not the last September weekend because of old election things in Germany.
Yeah.
But 1 week later, we had the perfect conditions. So our traditional date was good, but yeah, that was we don't know.
No.
So this summer in Berlin was so much rain, and yeah, we can't. I think we can't tell what weather we have next year or in the next years on our race day.
No. And
Also with our half marathon in end of March, beginning of April. Next year's end of March, it can be snowy, it can be 10 degrees. It doesn't matter. I think we have to work with it, and it. So you saw it. It's possible to be good under hot conditions. We had also hot conditions in the World Champs in Tokyo this year,
Yep.
and with tough marathons, but many people did a good job,
Yeah.
and that's also cool. I think it's not every year. I think not every year with the best times, but you see the top 10 in Berlin. There are so many Europeans,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also, I think, in my opinion, that's also cool to
Yep.
have two men's in the top 8. Oh no, two women's in the top 8, one German man in the top 8. That's cool.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, and I think that is also uh, we see a change in that. Like I had Fabienne on, who did very well there. I had Johannes Mochman, who also did well. You know, like there are. I'm sure it must be extra fun for you guys that German runners are doing well. But then it's also like we can. I think that people should look at it differently because temperatures are rising, and obviously we can say that that's scary or concerning for other reasons than just running. But if we look at the running aspect of it, there is a reason why people are succeeding with heat training. So you can start doing more of that. And if you see that this is something that will have to face more in the future with the major marathons, maybe that will just become a part of it, just like we've improved a lot on fueling. Because if you go 10, 15 years back in time, I don't think people were fueling the way they are. Also, like, it could be that the elite runners were really good at it back then as well, but at least like for you and me, we are now getting more and more aware of this because we read more about it, we hear more about it, we see more about it. And I think that might be the same with heat training, right? You start kind of training more, maybe you do more runs on the treadmill in a hotter room just to prepare yourself. Or Berlin also comes after summer. We will have a hotter summers, and then you can adjust to it in some ways. So I think that is just another challenge of running that we can face and just solve or approach in a different way.
Yeah, of course. I think when you're running in Berlin in summer, preparing for the marathon end of September, so most of the long runs, the 30K, 34K runs are hot, or you have to start at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
to not be overheated. So you can prepare it. I think you have to prepare it, or you have to you change you have to change your plans for the race to go a bit slower the first case and maybe increase at the end. That's also one of the things our medical team said before the race, and that the people hopefully change the race plans for the race because it could be tricky on the race day.
Yeah.
And only thing what we can do as an organizer, we have to prepare as good as we can. We had showers at the street. We have more water. And Yeah, but maybe okay. As a normal runner, it's quite different to do maybe heat prep. I think when not everyone have the treadmill at home or
Exactly.
in the gym, it's not the best situations at the gym. You have limited treadmills, and yeah, but for the elite athletes, they can prepare, of course, with a treadmill. They can prepare with yeah. They can prepare more than normal runners, and I think what we have to know is that we only can do, or we only can talk about the elite athletes when we're not forgetting the normal runners, because they're making this event so special. And yeah,
I think that might be a business idea for gyms all over the world, to make like one room with a lot of treadmills on and to offer heat training for people. That could be a good idea. Would attract a lot of runners, I think. Yeah.
maybe you open a gym only with treadmills.
Yeah. Philip, I really appreciated this conversation, and one of the like main takeaways, for at least for me, was when I asked you how people can kind of get into the elite field. And so, like, for most of us, this will never really be even something that we consider. I will probably never be a part of an elite field in any marathon. But what I loved about what you said was that it's not, first of all, it's not like you choose. So it's not like, oh, I like this person better, I'm going to choose this person. And also, it's not like you can come in late and be like, hey, I have a good time, so I assume that I will have a spot. But my understanding was that if you already did like a very fast marathon, say you are a 2:15, 2:16 marathoner, or maybe even a little bit slower, if you are early enough, there is a big chance that you can get a spot in the elite field. So for runners who are listening to this and they might be close to that level or at that level, how can they approach, or what can they do to become a part of the elite field in Berlin? Is there like a way to do it?
Yeah, I think it's not only Berlin; it's all the other races. I talked to many athletes in the past and said to them, okay, when you will maybe secure a spot for next year or for a race in 9 or 10 months, um, please write them an email, not or write them an email not 2 months before the race. That's too late. So drop your name, I don't know, half a year, and what feedback can you get? So on one side, you can he or she can say no, sorry, not possible this year, or they can say, okay, thank you, I put you on my list, and please remind me in 2 or 3 months or whatever when it's closer to the race, and but then you are on the list or on the mind from the person who is in charge of it, and then maybe you get a confirmation directly in the mail. Okay, yeah, you are in, but please contact me for more information later on. So that's what you can do. You can do it now for next year Berlin, but to be honest, I will write you back. Okay, you will hear from me in the next month, but because we have, to be honest, we have now in end of March our half marathon, also an
Yeah.
elite race, and yeah, but it's it's good to be early enough to write the mails or whatever
Yeah.
on social media or something else, but
So I guess
emails
that so I guess
emails
the
is fine.
main message is kind of just like reach out, and worst thing that can happen is that you get a no or you'll hear back from me, but at least do it early enough and don't write to you guys or to any major marathon kind of last minute. I guess like if Kipchoge emailed you like 2 weeks before, you would probably say yes, but that is a different situation.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, when we are talking about the superstars or some super fast German runners, it's it's clear that it's a different situation,
Yeah.
and we maybe can't give them so much what they maybe got when they reached out earlier to us, but um, they get an entry. Yeah, and that's why I said to you some seconds ago that the athletes have to be early, and when they get the answer from me, okay, not this year, or you will hear from me in the next month. That's totally fine. I totally understand that the athletes want to plan the next season. Of course,
Yeah.
I will do the same. Um, but we cannot promise anything. That's for sure. I will not promise anything. But I know, okay, there's this or this runner who is on my list now, and when they reach out to me again, I will try to help. So, and I think most of the races, especially the major marathons, will do the same. And yeah, but I think when Britons are going to the British races, they also get a bit easier situation when they
Yeah.
talk about it, and that's everywhere the same. And yeah,
I think that
of course,
everyone accepts
we
that.
want to support the locals. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's in my opinion that's good.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that makes sense. I think most people understand that, and that is just an understanding of how that is. And I mean, I'm not a big superstar, but I am planning on going to Berlin next year and run, and I am excited to do. Like, I'm doing Tokyo, I'm doing Boston and Sydney and Berlin, so have a lot of majors coming up. But after this chat, I'm definitely more excited about that race. So thank you, Philip.
Yeah, no problem. I think you will have a nice year next year, and especially in Berlin, it's super cool when you are going through the Brandenburger Gate. It was a special feeling for me when I did my first marathon there, and
Yeah, you're
yeah,
giving me the chills now. I'm very excited about it. Okay, thank you so much for guesting the Marathon podcast and sharing a little bit of insight with us from the Berlin Marathon. I really appreciate that, and I hope that this was helpful to the listeners too.
yeah, hopefully, and thank you for the invitation. It was a nice experience to talk with you and talk to everyone else who is hearing the podcast in the next days or next weeks. And yeah,
Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you to Philip for sharing all of this. Really appreciate it. I think that this is great insight to get, and appreciate you being here. So I'll talk to you in the next one, and have a good one. You listen to the Marathon Podcast, brought to you by Waz Studio.